good morning. Today is Tuesday, September the 16th. Sorry about yesterday. I had planned to post. I did post this morning. I prepared it yesterday, but it didn't,
Today.
unfortunately, it didn't
Welcome back. Fed
make it
just out
up
of the state.
last night. I want to give you an update on Oracle because we were discussing Oracle and the gap fill, which we had the daily, as you can see. Yeah, this gap at approximately 244 all the way up to 311. We hit 345, and I had an alert at 311 change to go short because I was thinking there was going to be a gap fill. Um, I had taken some off the table on, I think this was Friday, and then yesterday we kind of gapped up. If you, I don't know if you could, you can't really see it on the daily, but you could see over here, like, no, you can't even see. Yeah, you can see it over here. So 292, we closed on Friday, and then we gapped up at 300 and change yesterday. Now, quickly looking at at the news, there was nothing particularly out until around like early a.m. around 10, where there was Trump who, I don't know if it was tweeted or he spoke about the TikTok deal being actually done in Oracle by many, I guess, is believed to be a beneficiary of the TikTok deal. So that kind of threw a wrench into the trade idea because you can't factor in news, obviously, events, and this was an event. So let's take a look at the daily. We had, yesterday, we traded in that range. It was already out of my range. I wasn't comfortable leaving it overnight. I'll take a look at a 4 hour for better. I wasn't comfortable, even though we kind of had a very, like, meaning we basically traded very tightly yesterday. We gapped up again another, at the close, we were at 298, I think, at one point, and then we gapped up by another 20 points. And again, this is based on news. Before the close, given that there was no particular confirmation, but I didn't want to go into the evening without knowing what I would do with this trade because I do want to see the short side through. But again, when you have events can change everything. So I decided to get out of my position yesterday at a small loss, although I think overall I'm still up in the position. And that's where I'm holding. So right now, since we already have the 4 hour window open, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an alert right here because I believe strongly. I mean, again, it will have more clarity as to what the TikTok deal is and how it affects Oracle. There are many that don't believe that Oracle is going to be such a great beneficiary, other than the cloud deal. But we'll see what happens. So now, if you take a look at this line over here, I'm sorry, this line over here. No, this line over here was 310, or that was my original short. Right now, I'm not in any position, but we did this bar is engulfing, and um, I think if we can stay below this level of 311 and change, then we probably will test this 291. I'm not looking to go short here. I'm looking to create this as an alert again. Let's do Oracle. Um, let's do gap fill after TikTok news. Let's get the settings. We want to cross down, and we want a value of approximately two. Let's set the alert for 292, um, and let's create that alert. And I guess what that's going to do for me is that should we get to this area, it's very likely that we'll continue because if you take a look at the chart, and I guess this is something that's important to talk about because we don't really talk about it much, but market structure. So you have a lower high over here, and I'm just gonna like point it out over here. You have a lower high than over here. If we do get this cross, then it's confirmation of a downtrend, at least on the 4 hour. It's a little bit more of a lengthier time frame. So that's why I'm not prepared to get back in this position, especially with the news out there. Let everything come out. And if we do get across below the 292.44 or the 292, I think, then I probably would reconsider getting short because that would be around here. And if you can see this line, I'd consider getting short at this area to take advantage more of this gap. As of now, though, let me just see if I can remove these. Okay, I just removed these. Sorry about that, guys. So I'm just going off the cuff and just trying to show you guys at the same time what I'm seeing myself. Um, so let's take a look at again on the weekly. We have, um, let's just chart out over here. We were more charted over here on the daily. I don't know what happened to all my info here. But let's just do that now because so we're gonna draw trend lines. What is going on here? Oh, I'm there. Huh. We want to draw one trend line here and leave that as it is. Let's go to the weekly. I want to see there is somewhat of a little bit of a trend line here that I want to keep an eye on. We do have some support resistances that we want to keep an eye on. So we're gonna just plot it out over here. As you can see, I look for a consolidation area where I want to put my support slash resistance lines, so that it'll give me a little bit more clarity as to what's going on. And as you can see, pretty much everything is charted out. So we're right now literally off the chart because this was a trend line. I mean, there were a couple trend lines, but this was a short-term trend line, which it's been respecting. And then we had that earnings. And the question is if we come back to reality. Now, you could say it's not reality. I mean, the reality is that Oracle is doing amazing. Their earnings were just blowout, but we tend to fill gaps, and it's something to keep an eye on. But it's something that's right now not relevant on the daily. You could just see on a 5 minute bar. I mean, we attempted to try to break out of that high into a new trend. We couldn't. It was too much resistance there, and we've steadily been climbing down. So that's Oracle. Right now, my position is flat, and I'm looking at the 292 area to consider getting back into the position. Let's talk about Palantir. We're going to go back into the daily over here. And you could see we had that consolidation. We had that breakout over here at about the 162.35, I think, is that area. We did break out of it, and we've been steadily climbing up. Right now, we're just sitting here. You can see it clear on a 4 hour where we're kind of consolidating in this area. As a matter of fact, it's almost a wedge is forming over here. So I'd be keeping an eye on that. See, I'd like to see the 170. If we can break the 172 and hold above before the close, I may add to my position because if you take a look at the daily, you can see that's a key area of resistance right now. And if we break above it, again, my trajectory would be to the 190 target, and that's where I'm staying. In general, that's just following the graph. It's a steady uptrend. No reason to look anywhere else other than what the charts are telling me. Um, if we do again break above this 172 today or tomorrow, I'd be looking to add to my position. Anything happened today on the action on the inside? It's really just been a choppy day, as you can see. You came, you you came down in the morning. You came up. You came down, and you're almost kind of creating this wedge here, where you can plot from here, I guess, to here, and let's just remove this. Oops. Okay. And we can, or let's remove this one right here. And this one right here, because that was from the morning. It didn't, it just went sideways. And we'll take the top side from the top of this bar and the top of those wicks and see what happens. Like I said, the 172 area is where I'm looking at, which is right above us. But it's been pretty much trading inside, so nothing there to write home about. Walmart, tempted, where we talked about the other day, this head and shoulders that, oh, it looks like a skull. But this head and shoulders, you have the two shoulders over here, you have the head, you have the neckline. I was looking for that 102.5. It broke it, and now it's just trading sideways for the day. If we could get above this 104, I'm just going to set an alert here. Might as well. If we can cross above the 104, let's say 50. No, I'm going to leave it for 104.30. All-time high breakout, and I'm just going to leave that up for myself. Should we get that, I think we're going to see new highs. If you take a look at the 5-minute, like I said, we were so close to that level, and just kind of traded down. The S&P. Let's take a look at the S&P. We had a little bit of a reversal candle here. Nothing crazy to write home about, but we're just giving some back for the day. We've been just trading, between 661 and 659, which is a very tight range. And if you want to put it into perspective, you could just kind of scroll back and take a look. We were just here on Friday. No, this was yesterday. This was Friday. We made new highs yesterday. We even intraday high, and we're just trading right now. We can just put a rectangle on it. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can do that here or not. Probably not. Okay. Either way, this is the area to keep an eye on in this. It's kind of a range. You can see it. I don't know if you can. I'm just trying to get my oh, come on. Come on. Okay, well, I don't know if you could see it, but basically we've been just ranging in this area between 661, 659 is probably where you're going to see support at in that area. We're at all-time highs. It's kind of hard to trade off of all-time highs because, we've been in a steady incline, and you could just see it. This is a daily. And right now you have the support at 654, and you have the all-time high at 662 and change. With that, so we covered Palantir, we covered Walmart, we covered the S&P. Basically nothing to cover there except that we're at all-time highs. I did get alerted on Boeing. I think I got alerted on Friday. I had a line over here. What area was this? This is a 216 across of, I think it was 215.75. Um, if we did break below, I said that we could possibly test around, I would think around this area, about 204. And right now we're steadily declining. I did not jump on this trade. I made it just, as you can see on the daily, you had almost like a triple top over here. One, two, three, right? If you want, just to give you a little bit of clarity, one, two, and then three. Attempted three times, couldn't, broke below, had support over here at the 216 level, broke beneath it. So again, like I said, my educated guess would be that we test the 204 before we make any move backward. We had a lot of resistance up here at this 240 mark. The other thing that we were looking was Nvidia. We'll go into a monthly. We had trading in this channel, in this range over here over the last, let's see, this is from 167 from July, and the high of 184.90 that was in also in July, and then we've just been in this range. Let's take a look at a daily, see what the daily's looking like. And you also had lower highs, which is concerning. I do have I think, an alert here, and if not, let me just make sure. I do have an alert here. If we cross below, um, crossing below a value, and we'll just leave it at that. There was a slight gap over here when Oracle came out with their news. Oh, sorry about that. When Oracle came out with their news, Nvidia gapped up also from 171 to about 175. So, this area of support over here, and I can just take this back, and you can actually see it, how it lines up with so many bars. So you have one, two, three, four touches, five, six touches, seven, eight, nine touches on that line. So if we get across below this 175, it's possible we can test that 168. First target being 171 to fill that gap. So that you see that gap right over here. And let's see what else we've got going. So let's see, is there anything going intraday? No, again, like the S&P, just steadily declining throughout the day. Nothing to write home about, no patterns that I'm particularly seeing. It's really nearing its LOD. Was there IBM? I don't remember. Yeah, I did take a look at IBM, and it's like this area over here between. Sorry about this. Let me get rid of this here. How am I going to move this? Oh, there we go. So if I were to draw out, let's see if I get it. If I were to draw out, no, let's see if I can draw. Okay, I'm just going to show you what I mean. So I'm going to draw, let's move this, and I'm going to draw this area right over here. And then you have right over here. And you can see all the activity that's been happening in here, right? So these are areas that I would look for, and this is IBM. I really want to see this cross over here, and I don't know because it's about 268.51. We have a ways to go, so there's nothing really there that's showing right now. Just a lot of consolidation. There was a gap that we had over here, that we gapped down from approximately 281 to about 265, and then steadily declined after their earnings, which was a slight disappointment. The street didn't like it, so they got punished. We've been slowly entering back into that range. If we can get above, and perhaps I'm just going to put an alert here. Add an alert. Let's see, crossing above. Let's see, value, and we want a crossing above, crossing up, and we'll create that right there. So if we can get that fill, if we can get that, we want to maybe revisit this for a gap fill all the way up to about 280 from the 260s. So that's something to keep an eye on. With that said, we spoke about Tesla yesterday. Tesla, being the beast that it is continuing. It did open up. It came down in the AM, kind of filled that gap that it had overnight, and just has been trading sideways again against the market. It's actually doing better than relatively most of those that I've shown you so far. Let's take a look at CoreWeave. There was something that I was looking at it. This is a relatively new company, and just it came out. I actually got on the IPO. I stayed into the 40s and sold early, and then sure enough, it took off. I think there was a lot of just speculation, especially with AI and everything else, and that's why you have it trading where it is. I'm not particularly a fan of the company. I don't follow it. I just look for opportunities. What I am seeing is a high, a lower high, and a lower high. So it's creating a trend now, a downward trend. If you take a look, I would say this area of 84 and change, right? It's about here, or 86 and change is where I would look for support. And then, man, nothing there in particular. I guess if you want to draw out, what do you call it? If you'd like to draw out support resistance levels, you obviously have the very top. And then you have this area right here. That's your next level. And then we have an area right here. And there's a big area right here. Oop. And it's good to have these up, like I've said in the past, because it gives you a visual of what's going on. And especially if you're, let's say you're trading a shorter term level and you see your support resistance nearing whether it be support or resistance, it's good to have that visual so you know what is going on and you can make better educated decisions. With that said, thank you for joining the Daily Wick. If you do enjoy the content that I'm providing, if you do enjoy the education that I may be providing, please subscribe, share, and like. And albeit it's a slow time right now, especially because this week we had the Feds coming out, so we should expect some chop in the market. Um, you know, ahead, I'm sure there's a lot more opportunities. So right now, like I said in a previous video, I'm looking to take advantage of the markets, of the fact that the market is at all-time highs and creating all-time highs to liquidate some so that I'm prepped in case we do have some sort of a pullback, which would only be natural and healthy at this point. My name is Akiva Boaz. I'm your host for the Daily Wick. And thank you for joining me. Have a wonderful, wonderful Tuesday, September 16th.